Hi, how's it going? Hope you're doing all good. This is No Fate and welcome to the video. In this one, I'm breaking down the BAS-P SMG. This is the brand new SMG that you unlock through the Battle Pass in Modern Warfare 2 and indeed Warzone 2. So I'm going to be breaking down everything about the attachments. We're going to get into the tuning, and I'm also, most importantly, going to tell you, in my experience, is it actually worth running in Warzone 2 or not? So here's the build. Let's talk about each attachment. Let's start off with the barrel. For me, this Bruin Typhoon or Typhon is a must. It's the classic attachment, the barrel attachment, that also gives us sound suppression. So it turns the actual, you don't need to put a muzzle attachment to get some sound suppression. You get it all in one barrel attachment. So we get sound suppression, hip fire accuracy, bullet velocity, and damage range, which is everything we need for Warzone. Just with a slight nerf to aim down sight speed and hip fire recoil control. For the laser attachment, I go for this VLK laser 7 milliwatt. For me, this is because you get such a massive buff in handling and accuracy. It's better than a stock, for example. So the buff to aim down sight speed, there's a buff to aiming stability and sprint to fire speed. The only con, and this is why this attachment is so good, is that the laser is only visible in ADS. So when you're ADSing, you're usually in the gunfight anyway, so it doesn't really matter unless you're trying to peek corners. For the underbarrel, I go for the phase 3 grip. This is becoming my go-to underbarrel attachment. It's so good. Look at that accuracy buff. It's really, really good. Only caveat to these builds is that I'm still like testing things out in Warzone and doing all like stats testing and stuff. I'm trying not to go too crazy, but just for some important attachments that I think are really, really strong, I want to do some testing. So I will bring you like data on that when I've done it. So stay tuned. But yeah, this is really good because you get hip fire accuracy. This gun is not actually that great at hip fire, surprisingly. And another thing that makes it really, really good is the recoil stabilization. You may have seen this if you watched my other videos. Here's a card to my other epic build for Warzone 2. But the most important thing is the recoil stabilization. This smooths out the recoil. That means it doesn't bounce around all over the place. And this gun really does have that problem. It does move side to side quite a lot. Now for the next attachment, I've been going between two different setups. So first of all, I was running a stock. I think I was running this one, the Bruin Flash V4 stock. This is really good. And this is just something to bear in mind because you can change this up if you want to. But the movement buff that you get with this gun is crazy. And the main thing that I like is the aim walking speed. This is because when you're in a gunfight and you're moving left to right to make it difficult for, you know, the enemy to hit you, you're super quick. And it's one of the best things that I like in Warzone. I feel it does actually really, really help you out in gunfights. So that's just one thing to consider. You can switch it up for this stock if you want to. But for me, as you can see here on screen, like I'm hip firing in this scenario, but like I just about have enough bullets to kill this guy at hip fire. So for me, a 50 round drum is my kind of like #1 primary loadout. Obviously all it does is give you more ammo, but you get all of this mobility and handling nerfs, which aren't that great, but I feel that we've pulled it back in some of the other attachments, and it's something that we're going to be looking at when we tune it, which is coming up in a second. But for the last attachment, I always go for my little Chrono Mini Pro. Again, I go between the Chrono Mini Pro and the Corio RE-X Pro because they're the two blue dot sights that we have in the game at the moment. So having a blue dot gives you good contrast between your enemy and your scope, so you can see where you're aiming a lot better than, say, a red dot. So that's the reason why I go for this. And the aim down sight speed nerf is negligible. So now here's the crucial part. The tuning. How have we set this bad boy up? So first of all, let's take a look at the barrel. So what I've done is I've pushed this all the way on this left side to recoil steadiness. Again, although I've said the aim walking speed is really crucial for those gunfights to move in left and right to throw your enemy's aim off, this gun has really bad stabilization or steadiness. So I just really wanted to kind of fix this. And to be honest, it's still pretty quick at the aim walking speed. It's not too bad. So I'm pretty happy with the setup, but if you're finding that it's not great, then you can always obviously move this down. I wouldn't go all the way over to aim walking speed. I would still keep it like above the center line towards recoil steadiness somewhere. It's up to you guys to play around with it. I would recommend you push it all the way to the top. Down here at the bottom, interestingly, I've left this negative, or not negative, neutral. I've left this neutral as I think it gives a good balance. Because if we start to push this towards damage range, you really start to lose a lot of ADS speed. Again, I'm still testing things out. I'm doing the numbers on certain weapons. If you want to see certain things, please let me know down in the comments. As you can probably respect, there's so much to do in this game and so much data that could be collected on certain guns and certain things. I just simply don't have the time. Otherwise, if I was doing all that testing, I'd never play the game and never get any content. So I would recommend to just leave this neutral, because you see it really hurts your handling just for a slight bit of damage buff. You can just see the damage line here. So if you watch that move, you can see you don't really get a lot for such a massive handling nerf. For the phase 3 grip, this is how we tune it. So we push this left side all the way down to aim down sight speed. I've tested this out, and pushing this all the way up to recoil stabilization doesn't really visibly change the recoil stabilization that much, but you can notice the difference if you push it down to aim down sight speed. So that's why I do that. And for down here, we want to push this all the way over to aim walking speed. Look at this. Look how fast you are moving from side to side. Imagine trying to hit this. This is why we push this all the way over here. And again, I've tested this, moving it all the way over to the other side like this. And the aiming idle stability doesn't really seem to be that bad. I mean, at the end of the day, this is an SMG. You're going to be up close and personal. This isn't going to be moving around all over the place in terms of like when you're aiming down sight, like the idle aim isn't going to be moving around too much. And just that we get this aim walking speed, look, you can see how fast it is. This is a no-brainer. The VLK lasers can't be tuned, so that stays as it is. For the Corona Mini Pro optic, as you might have seen in my previous video for the Castoff 762, I've set this up exactly the same way. For me, this works really, really well. We can get back some of that negativity that we get from having the drum mag. So we push this all the way down to ADS speed. Now for me, I like to have that little bit more accuracy, because as you can see, if you go close, all you're doing is really removing accuracy. So it's quite a simple one. Push this all the way to far. As it's such a close optic, it's good just to get that extra bit of like distance out of it anyway. And also the drum mag can't be tuned. So is the BAS-P any good in Warzone? Should you take it or leave it? Well, I'm going to say it's a little bit maybe too early to tell, but I do feel it's very, very weak. I mean, I feel that you have to basically have this 50 round drum mag on it to even be slightly viable. You can use the 30, but the 50 needs to really be on there to take out more than one opponent at a time. So I do feel that it's not going to be top tier, but its strengths has got good power, like really good fire rate. Hip fire is not that great, as that's the kind of like a negative. Also, the reload time is very, very good, even for the drum mag. But is this top tier? Is this an S-class SMG? At the moment, I think there could be stronger ones. Time will tell. I'll keep you guys updated, obviously, with every piece of content that I release. So there you have it. Here's a tuning and setup guide for the BAS-P in Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I will see you in the next one. Much love. Peace.